You know, my name is Delphina Bailey Nichols, and I just wanted to speak on the issue of disrespect. I posted an Eliyahu inspired decree for Elul the other day, and within about an hour to 2 hours, I noticed that some women who do tarot readings, who never met me before and who don't speak to me, one of these women in particular started posting something about how the trumpets will blow and how there will be a judgment. Because if you read, you pay close attention, the judgment and finalization on cases in the courts of heaven usually takes place each year in September on the 28th. And the time for approaching, which allegedly is most optimal, is the period of Elul, or the last 2 weeks of August going into Judgment Day at the end of September. So I was kind of surprised where within just a few short hours after me making my Eliyahu inspired decree and posting it online, this black lady who's a tarot reader who's never spoken to me before, she picked up on that really quick, that a judgment in regard to children is coming up soon. Specifically that issue. And another thing I've noticed coming up here this week too is the issue of respect versus disrespect. And here's what a lot of people don't look at, okay? The Most High God, the Creator over the Black Hebrews, my ancestors, black people who had the rare blood type B, in Israel and Africa and Asia. The Creator God over these people says things in the Old Testament like, I am no respecter of persons. Like pretty much like we're saying, I'm not obligated to live up to your idea of what you think respect is supposed to be. No. And also for the psalm that's traditionally read every day leading up to Judgment Day, it says, though your mother who gave birth to you may forget you, I will not forget you. And in the book of Jeremiah, the black Hebrew God says things like, oh, well, my people are a foolish people who have never known me. You say you are wise and you know the law, but the lying pen of the scribes works falsehood. The book of Jeremiah also says that those black people were slaughtered by God because they re-enslaved their own people after God had set them free. The Hebrews were enslaved for 430 years because they got ignored. You want to summarize the whole story, God basically said, okay, you want to ignore me? I'll ignore you. I'll see you in 430 years after everybody under the sun is done beating your ass and enslaving you. Bye. A lot of black folks don't like that because they're like, oh, well, how dare you ignore me as a punishment for ignoring you? A lot of black people are like, oh, how dare you refuse to respect me when I'm wrong? That's like a lot of, I don't know, it just seems like a lot of black elders and even some Native American elders, they act like their idea of respect, with you violating that when they are wrong or when they have done something sick or cruel, they act like it's the unforgivable sin if you don't show their idea of respect while they're being corrected or called to take responsibility for their actions and make amends, When they start talking about respect, what they really mean is, hell no, I'm not going to take responsibility for my actions or make amends. That's what they really mean by respect, some of them. Or some of them, what they really mean is, oh, you're just supposed to keep your fucking mouth shut. But you know what? This is not the United States of Europe. This is not the United States of hillbillies. This is not the United States of kissing cousins. This is not the United States of Africa. This is the United States of America. And even though there's a lot of savagery and a lot of lawlessness here, the laws have changed a little bit recently. And for all these black people out here and white people, people of any race, who come from families like Iyanla's, where, in her case, she was 9. She wasn't old enough to be feeling attracted to anyone. And they forced her to live with an adult who raped her and called her a liar, and she was 9. But the fact of the matter is, black people and white people, they're not just doing this to a lot of little girls. They've been doing this to a lot of little boys, too. Some of them even just, like I said, a lot of little boys ages 2 through 16, or however age they're doing it. It's not just a little girl's problem. That's what they want you to think, so you just kind of be lethargic and doing nothing. I met one girl who was in a shelter because she wanted to give up the life of being a stripper and a prostitute because she wanted a better life for her 2 little girls. And this young woman, her cousin was raping his own brother and raping his sisters. And then that particular cousin raped her too. And because she was the more aggressive child who was more willing to put up some fight, what her cousin did was he took her and sold her on the black market for $20. And she had just been used as a prostitute and a stripper ever since then. And she was just a child. This is a Mexican girl who I had met in Texas. I've even met a white woman who used to be my neighbor. The same thing, in her father's family. There was his dad was raping him and also raping his sisters. And if I recall correctly, and of course nobody reported it, but the laws are different. All the people of different races from families who who turn a blind eye, your so-called respect, which is keeping quiet and kissing ass when elders are wrong, and refusing to take responsibility, refusing to make amends. Well, those of you who go with that program, your young family members can now call the police and throw your ass in jail for keeping quiet. They can call cops and have your ass locked up. It don't matter whether you black, white, Mexican, Native American, Chinese, it don't fucking matter. Your family member can be 2 or 5 or 10 or really there's no statutes of limitations on raping a child. So one of your relatives could be 30, 40, or 50 and tell the police that all those motherfuckers in your family kept it quiet and respectful and didn't report it, and you can all go to jail together. And guess what? They have plenty of room for you because during this coronavirus pandemic, a lot of prisoners, people in jail for petty offenses like selling weed, they were let go. They were set free. They're not filling up the jails anymore because of coronavirus. Shortly after coronavirus hit, a lot of jails were emptied out. Not all of them, but depending on what state you live in, they just open the doors and let them all out. you know, not at the state level, county level, not like the federal prisons. I don't think they did that. So with that said, that means depending on what region you live in, if they opened up the jails and let all those people out of there for the pandemic, then what that means is they got plenty of room to throw your ass in there if they need to, if you're one of the many, many people guilty of knowing about issues like this, you know, what's going on in families with little boys and girls getting abused. You can go to jail